Okay, this one we're going to look at the entire set of Pokemon XY base set card game. After all scans of the whole set were released earlier this week, thought we'd have a look at it. You notice some full art down the bottom there, but we're going to start at the top. As they started with black and white, they do it in colour order as opposed to rarity. So we're going to start at the beginning here. And from look at things, yes it is. The first two are two new EXs. Look at those first. Venusaur EX and Megas Venusaur EX. Okay. We've got 180 and you'll notice, as with the usual evolved Pokemon, all EX Pokemon, regardless of where they are in the respective evolutionary line, are basic. So, yep, as ever, basic. What's that? Oop. Sorry about that. Don't know what happened there. But yeah, Poison Powder. Opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned for 3 at 60. If you're playing grass, you're probably going to use them for a Bank Gym, since a lot of grass things do poison straight away. And Jungle Hammer to heal 30 for 90. As far as EXs go, 4 for 90 is a bit costly, but I would imagine that many people are only going to be playing Venusaur EX for the purpose of then Mega Evolving to this Mega Venusaur EX. As we know by now that Mega Evolution works exactly in contrast to the in-game rule of the DS games, that when you Mega Evolve, your turn ends immediately, whereas in the games, Mega Evolution doesn't take up your action for the turn. 230, which I believe is now the highest of any card ever. Official card. I mean, there are cards higher, but they don't go official. And there is obviously, there's an A spec that makes cards have more, I believe. I think it's one of the Curums that goes up to 300 when it's equipped with one specific A spec card. But yeah, Crisis Vine is good here, because not only does it do the 120 damage, but it paralyzes and poisons as well. So unless they're packing like a Switch or an Escape Rope or a similar card, they're going to be taking 120 plus poison damage and be unable to retreat out. So very good here for Venusaur. Plus, even with the fire weakness, it's going to take some doom to kill because of its staggering 230 there. Beedle, Kakuna and Beedrill, they're pretty much the same as usual. Weedle, 20 extra damage if it's facing another grass type. Which just prevents 60 or less damage. It's pretty much bog standard Kakuna. And Beedrill, which is very good there, but obviously you're going to need to be very lucky with your coin flips to get that full effect off. I'll just leave that there. You can pause that and read that all if you like, but on 3 coin flips, if you're that lucky, then well done, and you're invincible for the next turn. And Poison Jab, 20 damage plus poison for 1 energy, you can't say no to that. Ladybug and Ladybug's got a spinning attack that does 30 for 2 energy, and Ladian's got Mac Punch, 50 damage for 2 energy and 1 damage to the bench, 80 hit points. Yeah. Volbeat and Illumise, Pansage and Simisage, Quilladin and Chestnut. We're going to look at this Chestnut properly, because its ability is Spiky Shield. They took the trademark attack of Chestnut and turned it into an ability. It's very reminiscent of the old ability of Machamp from the base set, but 3 damage counters instead of just 1 that strikes back dead. Obviously that's relative. That's about the same when relative to the difference in hit point totals in all the years. And then Touchdown, which healed 20 from it for 90. Not bad for a non-EX Pokemon that's also hitting when it's also dealing damage when it's taking a hit. 4 retreats a bit costly, but you know, if you're running things like this, you'll probably have energy retrievals and stuff like that. Scatterbug, Spupa, and something quite gimmicky that I've heard they've done with the Vivillons here. We'll take a look at these 2 Vivillons. You'll notice that the card's art is relatively the same, but as it's Vivillon, they've gone and done the patterns. You'll notice this is the same card every way, in every way other than the pattern. I've been told that in various different countries of release and different languages, these will be different once again. So Vivillon collectors may have to do some international trading to get all of these. Quite interesting to do. And of course they'll be after the reverse Holo Master set as well. So you've got quite a bit of work to do. And you'll notice they are both number 17 out of 146 as well. So yeah. And then the last grass is Skiddo and Gugot. There we go. Which, let's have a look at Gugot. Lead, search for 2 supporters and put them into your hand, and then charge dash to take a recoil if you choose to do 20 extra. Not a lot of fire, as you can see there. Slugman with Cargo, Pansear, Simisear, Fennekin, Breaks, and Delphox. I'll look at the Delphox because once again, trademark attack from the game becomes its ability. This one's got a more draw based ability. Draw until you hold 6 every turn. And then Blaze Ball, which does 50 plus 20 for each fire energy attached. So if those 3 colourless are all fire, that is going to do 110 damage. Quite respectable damage there. And then Smogon Birds, Fletchinder and Talonflame. Basically, middle form, the Fletchling will be down in the bottom with the colourlesses because it doesn't get its fire typing until it evolves to the middle. And Fire Wing for 30. And Flame Charge, search for a fire energy. Talonflame, Devastating Wind, shuffles hand in to deck and draw 4. Very, very disruptive. And Flare Blitz, discard all fire energy attached to this Pokemon. Okay, that's only 2. You can deal with that. And in the turns you're not using Flare Blitz, you're devastating winding them, so you're very, very disruptive to them. Water, here we go. Quite a bit of water here. We'll start off with, as we did with the other 2. Blastoise is a bit blurry from the art, but I'm sure we can deal with it. Rapid Spin, basically 30 damage and then an escape rope. And Splash Bomb, flip a coin if tails, Blastoise EX does 30 to himself. Quite a bit better than the Venusaur EX, I think. But still, mostly just going to serve as a lead into the Mega Blastoise EX. Hydro Bombard. Attack does 30 to 30 to 2 your opponent's bench, and does the 120 for 3 energy. Very, very nice. Obviously they've all got the EX rule as they've always had, 2 prize cards instead of 1. Put them away. Shelter and Cloister, Staryu and Starmie, Lapras, Corsola, Panpour and Simipour, Frogadier, and the final starter is Water Shuriken with Greninja. Once during your turn, discard a water to put 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Mist Slash Wigless, no matter what, 50 damage for 1 energy. Very nice, and with only 1 retreat cost. That's very, very nice. Surprised it didn't have the resistance to Psychic, since Greninja is part dark, but very, very rarely do both types of visual type Pokemon get referred to in the game. Not since the 3rd generation card game was that ever a factor. Only 5 electric types. Pikachu and Raichu, as always. Voltorb and Electrode. And Emolga EX. Quite an interesting choice for an EX, this one. Low hit points for an EX, although not as low as Jirachi's. Energy Glide to search for Light Energy and attach it to shuffle your deck, and then Volt Switch out. Electron Crush, so basically turn 2, there you go. Electron Crush 60 plus discard energy to do 30 more, so 90. A weakness to its own type, but when you consider that Emolga is also flying type in the game, this is a small nod to that. Resistance to fighting, again, its weakness and resistance have come to its flying type. Normally the fighting is a weakness to electric types, and no retreat cost. Again, quite good. The no retreat cost can sort of balance out the low hit points, especially with the Energy Glide. It's going to take a while to take a hit or 2. Psychic types in this are Ekans and Arbok, Spoink and Grumpig, Venipede, Whirlipede and Scolipede, Phantom, and an interesting Trevenant, which we're going to look at. Clicky here. Right, if you can't read that because the scan came from a reverse foil, we'll read it. Forest's Curse. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent can't play any item cards from his or her hand. That is a major pain. No potions, no escape ropes, no catchers, no balls of any type. You see where I'm going with this? It's a major pain, Trevenant is. And Tree Slam, 60 damage base, and 20 to 2 bench. Very good. Weakness, resistance, very nice. And a retreat of 3, which I suppose you could expect. With a card that's this dangerous, they had to give it something to stop it being too OP and broken, so they gave it the heavy retreat, which I'm okay with, really. I don't think you ever want to have something that's too OP to play, and making that a heavy retreat means that this card is you're never going to be retreating that way before it can take damage, but it is always going to be active as much as possible to stop the items being out. Very, very reminiscent of an old Spiritomb from the Diamond and Pearl era. I think it was Legendary. No, Legends Awakened had a Spiritomb that prevented. Or was it? No, it was. There was a Spiritomb in the 4th generation card set that prevented trainer cards of any type being played. If anyone can remember what set it was, please tell me in the comments down below, and I'll fix that in another video. Pumpkaboo and Gourgeist. I think they missed a trick with the Pumpkaboo and Gourgeist with the various sizes, but you know, Nothing for you to do about it. There. That's all the psychics. So there's new Diglett and Dugtrio. Diglett's 50 hit points is mine to look at the top card of your opponent's deck, and then Mudslap for 20. Earthquake for 60 and Rock Tumble for 60. So 2 attacks that do 60 each. Earthquake's very easily to access, but it does come at a cost of losing 10 damage to each of your own bench. Rhyhorn, Rhydon, and Rhyperior, which Rhyperior will have a look at. Like that card art for Rhyperior. As I say, the colour looks a bit weird. It's not quite shiny, but still, Rock Blast, very good. If you're lucky with coins. And Rock Wrecker, which it's 130. Simple, 130, no weakness, no resistance, just bam. But Rhyperior then can't attack the next turn. Lunatone, which I will look at because there's something interesting on this. Double draw 2 cards, but what's interested me here is Moonblast, because Moonblast in the game is the highest level fairy type attack, but it's on a fighting type. Of course Moonblast would be on the Lunatone for its moon shaped thing. I just found that funny. And then same Solar Beam on a rock type, and Cosmic Spin, which does extra damage if you got Lunatone on the bench. Timber Girder and Conkeldurr, which Conkeldurr has Wake Up Slap and Dynamic Punch. Yep, which Wake Up Slap can do 19, but then cures all the special conditions. Sableye here, Filch and Ripclaw. Sadly, not as good as the Junk Hunt Sableye that people have been favouring for a long time. Sandile, Crocrock, and Crocodile. Bother, which, I don't know, every time I see the word bother it just reminds me of Winnie the Pooh. Flip a coin if heads, your opponent can't play any supporter cards. That could be worrying. And Knockback, which is just a catcher with damage. Zorua and Zoroark. Inge, which I want to take a look at because of its gimmicky as all hell ability of Upside Down Evolution. Ties in very much with the gimmick that you need to evolve Inkay into Malamar in Pokemon X and Y. Level 30, and you have to hold your DS upside down for it to go over. Upside Down Evolution. How do you get Pokemon upside down in the card game? Have it confused. So if Inkay is confused, you can evolve it into Malamar. Okay, that's fine, but how do you get it confused? How can you guarantee confusion? Look at that attack. Both active Pokemon are now confused. And the good thing is, your opponent will stay confused. Well, you'll evolve into one of these 2 Malamars. We'll have a look at both Malamars. I'll let you decide for yourselves which ones you want to use. Oh, no, get back here. Mental Trash. Flip 4 coins for each tails to discard a card. And Distortion Beam for 30, with a guaranteed special condition. But if you've done the thing with the Upside Down Evolution, you really want the heads there. Or you can have Mental Panic to prevent an opponent's attack, which is fantastic if they're confused because they've got to keep flipping multiple coins and hope for the best. And then Puncture, which isn't affected by resistance. Now, fair enough, I don't know of many Pokemon that have a resistance to Dark, but still, I'd I'd rather do 70 than 30, especially when nobody's going to be using the Inkay that's not Upside Down Evolution. Nobody's going to use this tackle puncture one. I think I'd probably prefer to use the mental panic puncture one. Getting into things here, getting into Yveltal, Oblivion Wing, the signature attack of Yveltal in the game, and Darkness Blade for 100 damage. Flip a coin if this Pokemon can't. If Tails' opponent can't attack during your next turn. Oh well. But Oblivion Wing. Evil Ball. On Yveltal EX, you've got Evil Ball. Does 20 times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon, both Yveltal EX and the opponent's one. Eventually that's going to start getting more powerful than Y-Cyclone. Y-Cyclone I don't really understand, because you move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your ranged Pokemon. I'd probably pair this with Darkrai EX. I'm thinking of trying that on a deck on TCG Online. Once I've got some of these, I will try that. Moving into Steel types, 7 Steel types, well 6 when you consider 2 of them are Aegislash. But we'll go straight in with our Skarmory EX. Joust, where you discard all Pokemon 2 cards attached before you do the damage. Very interesting if they're on their last 20 damage and have a magic cape, have a giant cape on, because you're going to discard that tool, instantly knock them out before they do the damage. And then Tailspin Pile Driver. Extra damage if it's already damaged. Ponyard and Bisharp. Honedge, which sits there and just does, like, pokes at them. Doublade, which again doesn't do much, but it's when it hits Aegislash, and we're going to bring these two up to look at. You'll see there is a shield form and a sword form, which can switch. They can switch in and out of each other. I'm assuming you can only have 2 of each in your deck at most, obviously, considering they're both the same card name. You've got a heavy attacker and a heavy shield, but even the shield does 50 damage. Very nice. You're gonna switch. You're probably always gonna have one in your hand and one down, because you'll just switch them, because King's Shield can't be used twice in a row, because it is essentially protect. And Buster Swing, again, not affected by resistance. I've seen that seems to be a very common thing in this set, attacks that aren't affected by resistance. Now, here's where things get interesting, because we haven't seen much Fairy before. 2 different Jigglypuffs, Roll Out and Body Slam. Heartfelt Song, this is here. Discard a dark energy attached to your opponent's active. This is where the dark resistance comes in here. Weakness to steel, and resistance to dark. I'm very surprised that the weakness to the fairies isn't mostly dragon, considering their overall immunity to them in the game. More fairy. Mr. Mime is a fairy as well. Spritzy and Aromatisse, Swirlix, Slurpuff, Xerneas, Geomancy, again a signature move, and Rainbow Spear, where it's just a really big Hyper Beam of the card version of Hyper Beam. Xerneas EX. Breakthrough for 3 does 30 damage to 1 bench Pokemon, and then X Blast for 140 damage, but it can't be used in successive turns. Colorless, fair few colours here. Doduo and Dodrio, Tauros, Dunsparce, Tailo and Swellow, Skitty and Delcatty, Bidoof and Bibarel, Lillipup, Herdier, Stoutland, Bumblebee and Diggersby, Fletchling to go with the cards we looked at earlier on up in the fire section, Furfrou, which has an ability, and we'll look at that. Furfrou, which is fur coat. Any damage done to this Pokemon by attacks is reduced by 20. It's the same as Buffalant was. An energy cut off, flip a coin if heads, discard an energy attached to your opponent's active. That's annoying. And then into the new trainer cards. They're not all new. I don't think. No, there's some repeat. There's at least 2 repeats that here, but we'll just look at them all. Cassius, shuffle one of your Pokemon all cards to into your deck. Suppose that rings true with the person who owns the storage system in this game. Suppose that effect's similar to boxing your Pokemon. This one, Evo Soda. It's like a mini rare candy. Search for the next stage and put it straight on. Fairy Garden, first of our 2 new stadiums. Each Pokemon that has any fairy energy attached to it has no retreat cost. So all fairies with fairy energy on them can ditch in and out for free. Great Ball is Great Ball. Hard Charm. Any damage done to the opponent is done to the Pokemon this card is attached to by an opponent's attack is reduced by 20 after applying weakness and resistance. Max Revive. Put a Pokemon from your discard pile on top of your deck. Okay. Muscle Band. 20 extra damage of the when on the attacks of whatever you attach to that too. Sycamore is the new Juniper, new Oak, new whatever professor you were playing in your generation. Professor's Letter. Look for 2 energy cards and reveal them, put them in your hand. Red card. Your opponent shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck and draws 4. Same as that disruption effect from the Talonflame. Roller Skates. Flip a coin if heads, draw 3. Shadow Circle, which is the other new stadium card. Each Pokemon that has dark energy attached to it has no weakness. Shauna, shuffle your hand in your deck and draw 5. Super Potion is Super Potion, heal 60, but then discard an energy. Team Flare Grunt, discard an energy attached to your opponent's active. Double Colorless, and something interesting that we've not seen for a while is Rainbow Energy. Provides Star Energy. While in play, it provides every type of energy, but provides only 1 energy at a time. And when you attach it from your hand to one of your Pokemon, put 1 damage counter on that Pokemon. What interests me is how this stacks with Vivillon. Because if we look at Vivillon again, it does say basic, so it wouldn't count. Okay. If that hadn't said basic, I would have been intrigued to find out how that works with that attack. Because that does count as every energy, but it does count as only 1 energy at a time. Does it count? Would it have counted the type or not? But it's moot anyway. Our normal energies there. And we're on our full arts now. Venusaur, Blastoise, Emolga, Yveltal, Skarmory, and Xerneas. There are no full arts for the Mega evolutions, but these are the ones we have. They do look nice, same as ever, full arts. I've got to say, I think my favourite ones are the Skarmory and the Yveltal. They're definitely my 2 favourite ones. They all look nice, I'll give you that, but my 2 favourite are definitely Skarmory and Yveltal. Other than that, yeah, that's our whole set. So that's the new set. That's what people will be going nuts for Pokemon card wise in the next month or two, and just thought we'd go through all that. But that's all for now. Subscribe, catch me, comment, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Bye.